Hello, hello. Oh, I'm like way close, y'all. Okay, so today is Monday's IEP tip of the week. So I'm going to do this short and sweet, and we're not going to be on here long. We're just going to do a quick tip. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful weekend. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods, and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. Now, nowadays we got COVID going on, so you have to even more be that CEO of your IEP meeting. And I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but I'm telling you guys, you can do it. All right. You have it in you. So if this is your first through third time watching me live, seeing me live, make sure you post a 1 below. If you're an oldie but goodie, post a 2 below. You guys know what to do. And if you share, you will go into my magical hat. And at the end of the month, I do giveaways. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, share this video and post share below and in the comment section, and I promise to put you into the hat. And if you share often, then your name goes in more than once. Okay, so post a 1 below if you're first through third time catching me live, post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, and make sure to share and click notifications above. All right, if you haven't joined the group, go to search Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, and I will accept you into the group. I have like 75 people right now to accept in. I have been away this weekend. It was Skylar's 15th birthday. I cannot believe it. And so I have been kind of behind with that. So go ahead and join Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. And I promise to, look, 75 people. Can you see it? Does it say? Hold on, I'll show you. Look, see members 75. I gotta accept them. It's crazy. All right, so make sure to share, click notifications above, join the group, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. All right, so today's tip of the week actually comes from one of my parents that I spoke with today, and we're actually going to do process, which is not a good thing, but hey, we're gonna get her what she wants and what she needs, and there's so many different violations. It's insane. And when I go to due process, I don't take that lightly. Typically speaking, things settle in mediation, but you prepare as if you're going straight to due process, and mediation isn't even an option. Does that make sense? So one of the things that in our discussion today that I found very crazy, but that again, we're going to due process, and there's a lot of things that are crazy with this case, but the tip today is check out your meeting invitations. Okay? This is something I don't talk about often, so you've got to share this because thank you, Nicolette. Hi, Nan, welcome, and Gabby and Jessica, welcome, guys. Thank you for posting a 1 below. It's your first through third time, and I really hope that you like it here, and I hope you join the group at Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. Just put that in the search bar. So check your meeting invites. Okay, so before every IEP meeting, you get what's called a meeting invitation. Okay, in that invitation at minimum, okay, and I put this up at for an IEP tip of the week as well, but I want to go over it in detail. It should always have your child's name, date of birth, when the meeting is, the date and the time. Make sure that it also entails what is that meeting about. So it could be, like I put in the tip of the week, it could be evaluations or reevaluations that you're going over that. It could be you're going through the IEP and making edits and going through that. It could be simply transition services, okay? And you're talking about transitions. So whatever it is, it needs to be documented as to what is that IEP about, okay? What is happening? And you can't talk about other things, typically. Schools will. But if it's not in that meeting invite, you really don't have a backup as to what the purpose of that meeting was, and it can backfire on you. So if you want other things added to your meeting invite, then have it added and have them send you another one. Okay, so if you're wanting to talk about ESY and you're wanting to talk about your IEP and editing the IEP and going over it, and you're wanting to talk about evaluations all in one meeting, then it needs to be in that meeting invite. Okay, So child's name, the date of birth, the information, okay? Usually their student ID. You want to know what that meeting is going to be about and make sure it is in there. You also need to make sure that who is going to be at the IEP meeting is documented. Not just special education teacher, gen ed teacher, psychologist, principal, whatever, whoever's going to be there, okay? Hopefully it's the people who are supposed to be there are there, and then extras are great. But not just that, not just what their title is. It needs to be who they are. What is your name? Who are you? Because technically speaking, any special ed teacher can be there. Any gen ed teacher can be there. And they may not know squat about your child. Nothing, zero, zippo, but they are making it to where they're adhering to IDEA and the law by having that person there, a sped teacher or a gen ed teacher. But that person could know nothing about your child, and I've had that happen many times. So these are the things that must be in your meeting invitation. Now, some schools will send you something, say, hey, sign this meeting invitation that you'll be there. Now, you can simply send an email back and state, I will be at the IEP meeting on such and such date at such and such time. You do not have to sign a meeting invitation, all right? Now, if you agree with everything on it, there's no harm, no foul. It's not going to hurt you to do that. Just make sure that you read it thoroughly, that the time of the meeting is there, and that it states what time it is, like Eastern Standard Time, etc. It actually should have that because schools have tricked people that way. It also needs to have, what your meeting's about. So I'm recapping this. And it also needs to have, exactly who is going to be there, not just their title. Okay. So make sure those things are in your child's invitation. And if you need to add any more or take away, make sure that that is done before the IEP meeting. I have seen where meeting invites are sent out literally the day of or the day before. Not okay. It should be sent 5 business days in advance, okay? Unless it's some emergency IEP meeting, last minute thing, or whatever, then obviously that's fine. But if it's not, then 5 business days, calendar days is not how it should be for this type of document. So it should be 5 business days and, school days in advance, okay? So there you have it. There's your IEP Monday IEP tip of the week. I told you it was going to be short and sweet tonight, and I hope that you take that to heart and really look at that thoroughly, because if something else is in your IEP invite and you don't really look it over thoroughly, you get to that meeting, you're ready to really hash it out on certain topics that you're frustrated about or whatever the case may be, or you're wanting to change goals, and it's not in there that you're editing the IEP at that time, then they can technically say no. And then you took a day off work or whatever it was to come to a meeting that was specifically for ESY or specifically for transitions. Okay, so they can actually get you there. And so you need to make sure you read that document, you understand it in full, and that it is thorough. And like I said, a lot of times they'll put sped teacher, gen ed teacher, etc. But you want to know names. You want to know who it is that's going to be there and what their title is. All right. So hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. If you have any questions, post them below. If you have them right now, I'll go ahead and answer them really quick. And tomorrow I will go live in the morning for a little bit, and we will talk more about all things IEP. I have some good stuff coming your way as far as knowledge for you in regards to things that are going on right now and things that you really need to be aware of, okay? And I think it's really important to just stay on top of these things and making sure that your anxiety level stays as low as possible during this very difficult time, and that we all get through this together, okay? So if you're catching the replay, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time, a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, and make sure to click notifications and share. All you have to do is push share in the comment section, and you will go into the hat for all the gifts at the end of the month. I typically give anywhere from 3 to 5 gifts each and every month, and hopefully you are one of the winners. So make sure you post share or shared, so I know that you shared and I know to put you into the hat, okay? All right, so hey Michelle, how are you? And Amy, hello. Oh, I love all your little emojis. And Jessica and Nan, I told you guys, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy this page and definitely join the group. Nicolette, hey lady, how are ya? Thank you for sharing. And Tatiana, hello, welcome back, right? And Michelle Pierce, welcome lady, how are ya? So again, Monday tip of the week. Hopefully you guys, take heed of that because it can definitely get you. And I'll tell you, when we were looking this over today and I was going over this with my client, we actually found a violation because they had put in the meeting notice that a general education teacher was going to be there. They did not note the person of who was going to be there at the IEP meeting. And then a gen ed teacher, in fact, was not at that IEP meeting. So that's a procedural violation. It's a big deal because that is required. And so it was interesting how we caught that and they brought it up in our conversation today. And then also we associated with, hey, they weren't at that meeting. So we caught a procedural violation right then and there. So Michelle Pierce says, Raven, I have an IEP meeting and it is to discuss virtual learning. What am I looking for? Oh gosh, there's so much you could be looking for, but it all depends on your individual child. So you can have a conversation in your IEP in reference to virtual learning, and it can go as in depth as some accommodations are obviously not going to be able to be provided, especially if it's on a one-on-one basis. Some services can't be provided, such as a one-on-one, a person, just because if the school's not open like that, then technically that would be difficult. However, the argument can be the school's open, period, because virtual learning is the school is open. So if your child has a one-on-one and the school is open, technically they're supposed to be provided a one-on-one. But then their argument can be, the whole purpose of virtual is because of the COVID and that sort of thing. So there's different things that you can go back and forth on about and the technicalities of it. I know some schools have even said, which is a total 504, Section 504 complaint, is, and they're stating it like this and saying, oh, we're going to have virtual learning. However, certain children can come to school who need it. Well, who's to say who needs it and who doesn't? Who's to say that child's needs are more than that child's needs? I think that we, when you start doing something like that, you're really looking at a lot of liability. So, we got to really look at the situation, what's going on in your area specifically, and what the governor's been saying, and then go from there. So it's kind of hard to tell, but we'd have to talk and, go from there. All right. So he has a group. Gotcha. And he has group speech. Yeah. I mean, group speech obviously can be given virtually. Effective? Probably not, but you never know. Let's think positive. And did you know he's supposed to have group speech? Is that something you wanted, or did you ask for private and they just kind of threw in group speech? I know a lot of IEPs are saying group or individual, and parents are getting caught off guard by that and not realizing that there's a difference. So and thinking that because the school said, yes, we're gonna, do speech for you, no problem, we'll do it individual. And then you're kind of missing that group that's put into there, so then it's becoming something that's really ticking parents off because they'll say group or individual, but then they'll tell you individual in the IEP meeting. So you gotta watch out for that. There's another tip. Never just give one. So yeah. All right, guys. So I hope you guys, yeah. I hope you guys, hi, Cynthia. Does this mean that the school won't be able to just have my son's new teachers? It needs to include teachers from last year too, right? If you're, yeah, in the IEP meeting, when we look at that, yeah, we'll have to look at who's going to be there and who they're letting be there, because technically whoever is in the meeting invite, etc., is who was going to be there. So that's definitely something we got to look at. and address. So we will be doing that. Good evening, shared as always. Thank you, Kim. You always have wonderful information. Well, thank you. And I hope you guys, really start taking a look at those things, because it's funny how, all these little tiny intricacies, go into play of something that's pretty huge. Because I can't even tell you how pissed off I would be if, I was planning on an IEP meeting and I was expecting to go through the whole entire IEP in detail. And then all of a sudden we were talking about ESY. You know what I mean? So that would just throw me, I have not had an issue with that at all. Obviously, I always put out an email. I always explain in depth what that meeting's supposed to be about. So if they ever sent an incorrect invite, then, that would be an easy argument, just because I had already sent out an email. But sometimes when you're requesting, I want an IEP meeting, there's not that detail of what you're wanting the IEP meeting for. So if you did send out an email, Cynthia, this kind of goes with your situation, and it's detailed, then the meeting invite, if it is contradictory to the initial request, which was in depth, then they don't have a leg to stand on. But a lot of parents will just say, I'm requesting an IEP meeting. And then they get an invite, and then it's completely against and different than really what they wanted to be discussing, thinking that an IEP meeting is an IEP meeting is an IEP meeting, which technically you can bring up anything at an IEP meeting, but they can easily shut it down as well. And you don't want them to have that opportunity or to be able to do that, because that's something that they do anyway, kind of push you off. Oh, we'll talk about that in the next meeting. Oh, we'll talk about that at the end of the IEP meeting. And you're trying to get your thoughts straight and things out, and then they're pushing it off, which happens all the time. It drives me crazy. So we got to put an end to that quick, and we will. And make sure, guys, that you are just descriptive in all your emails. Just you're creating a case. You got to remember, you're creating a case. And so sometimes it's good to catch them off guard, but sometimes it's not so good, because you want to make sure that your IEP meeting is going to be, what it is you wanted it to be. So, but certain things, if you know that you've got them on something in regards to something they didn't do, in regard to violations, you can make choices. You can make choices on, do I email them and just ask a bunch of questions and not be accusatory, which I like to do, because then they either respond or don't respond to the questions, and then you can then go more in depth. Or you kind of leave it be and throw it at them at the meeting, and then they're completely caught off guard because they're trying to scramble to come up with the right response, not expecting that that being said at all, and sometimes, we have to remember that a lot of directors of special ed are not involved in the day-to-day. So a lot of things that are brought up are shock to them. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. You kind of just have to either test the waters, or you have to, figure out what route you're going to go and be confident in whatever it is, or however they respond, that exactly how you're going to kind of pan this out. So just keep those type of things in mind, all the little tiny details in regards to an IEP, because it is a legal document, is important. And you don't want to miss a ton, you don't want to, go into something expecting something and then that not pan out, and then you're having 50 million IEP meetings because things didn't go as planned. So just make sure that you have those details kind of put together beforehand, and you guys will be good to go. All right, so watch for those meeting notices, make sure you pay attention to what's in them, and make sure you address them immediately, like you should any document, such as a PWN and anything else for that matter. Even look at your evaluations, okay? You request an evaluation, they send you something, and all you see is approved, that they agreed, and then typically they have to label exactly what it is that you've requested, and they put it in. And sometimes, a lot of times actually, they will miss something or purposely miss something. I don't know. It could be just they missed it. But bottom line, if that's missed, then that evaluation is not going to get done. So you want to then send an email saying, hey, this needs to be fixed. And then we can get this moving and I'll sign it and we'll move forward with the evaluations. So you want to always look at those things and add them if necessary. And it's okay too, especially with an evaluation, if you sign it and 5 of them are being done, which is fine. And then you add the other one and say, hey, you forgot the FBA. Can you please send me another consent to reevaluate? Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow. I will go live early and do some more content that you guys need to know. That there's so much going on right now that I just want to keep you all informed. And then tomorrow night I will be going live over on my group for a live 1-hour Q&A. So come join us over there, okay? All right, guys, have a wonderful evening and thanks for joining me live, okay? Bye-bye.